Hey everyone, it's DL here, and I'm with Sally Estilin, and we are going to chat a little bit about uncertainty, which is one of my least favorite topics. However, um, given uncertainty and what that leads to, anxiety, depression, sadness, feeling hopeless, helpless, those kinds of things, and what's going on in today's world, I think it's a really important topic. So, Sally, thanks so much for joining me. And
Yeah.
what is the best piece of advice that you can give about dealing with uncertainty?
Yeah. Well, as you said, it's stress, anxiety, depression at the moment with this COVID stuff. It's huge. And we just don't know what is happening around the corner. We just don't. And the best piece of advice is just to live in the moment. It's the only thing that we can do, the only thing we can control. And as we live in the moment, sit with some calmness, whatever we can do to stop and pause this crazy mind, because it's the mind chatter, right? It's out of control. It's because it's invoking that fear and anxiety of like, what if about tomorrow? And we've got no control over that. We don't know what it is actually happening. I'm stuck down in Melbourne. The rest of Australia is starting to operate normally, but Melbourne's got this massive second wave. So we've got this massive uncertainty. We don't know if we're going into the next stage of lockdown. There's a lot of anger happening in the energy around us. There's a lot of frustration and a lot of like stress and anxiety. What's going to happen? Businesses, the flow on effect, it's only just starting to happen now. And, riding this wave of uncertainty, you've got to strap yourself on. And as I just said, just sitting in the present moment, as hard as it is, and staying with that calmness. Because when we start to go into that shadow side of stress and chaos, that's when things start to implode. We start spiraling downwards, depression, all that sort of stuff. And it's not easy. It's very easy to say these things, but to action them is a different thing. So it's tools and techniques to keep you in the present moment. Appreciating, gratitude, positivity, meditation, manifesting, all that sort of stuff. Just whatever can keep you in this present moment and keep you calm.
So that was going to be my exact next question. What are the three to five best techniques that you do or that you teach to maintain that calmness in the mind? Because that is something I know that I've struggled with. For me, one of the best that I could do was eliminate caffeine.
Yep.
Because when I have caffeine, my mind normally goes races. That's its tendency. I have a very quick mind, and it can I can lose control of it. So how do we control our minds? What are some ways that we can, or what are some of the best strategies that you teach to literally control and calm the mind? Because some people are like, well, I can't help what I feel.
Yep.
Actually, you can.
Yep.
Part of why I'm doing these interviews is to give people tools and techniques that they can take home on their own, to go ahead and see if it works for them, because everybody's going to have a different thing that aligns.
Absolutely. And everyone's at different stages of evolvement of understanding of things that you can do. Meditation is huge, but a lot of people don't realize that meditation is just literally about turning the mind off, just something that distracts the mind from being busy. Closing your eyes and just deep breathing. Breathing is a really good technique, just to close your eyes, breathing in through the nose and slowly exhaling out through the mouth. Plus with kids, when they fall over, you say take 3 deep breaths. Just connecting in with your breath is one good thing. Meditating when you're actually lying down or sitting up, and just connecting in with, I'd listen to Joe Dispenza. There's so many meditation tapes out there. You can do walking meditations. And, even it doesn't have to be full blown, it's not woo-woo stuff. It's just disconnecting the mind from the present moment of everything that's going on. So whatever it is, I find walking out in nature is really cathartic, particularly near water. But just going for a walk, listening to music, audiobooks, something that can take you away from the norm. Having a lovely bath with some music on, some Epsom salts and some lavender oil. We're going from just basic things that you can do in your own home to getting outside to, listening to stuff. diet, as you said, is really, really important for when you're having a high sugary diet, or a very inflammatory diet with a lot of gluten, that's flaring stuff up, and it's not fueling the body in a calm way. Beautiful, warm, soothing teas, chicken soups, that sort of stuff are good. I'm really big on exercise. One big thing that is really good to calm the mind from the anxiety and bring it back to the present moment is sit with some gratitude, do some positivity exercises. When we sit with gratitude, look at what we do have in the present moment, be really grateful for our health that we do have, for our family, for our friends, for what we've got at the moment. It helps shift us from that anxiety of and come back to the basics of like, yeah, I'm grateful for what I've got. And it helps us be more positive rather than, the Debbie Downer, oh my God, it's not this great. If only this has happened, then it'll be all right. Once I get this, then it'll be okay. It's like, no, let's be okay with what we've got. We have to stop and pause, because, that's been one great thing out of this COVID stuff, is that everyone's been so busy, 24/7 world, race. And all of a sudden we've got forced to put the brakes on, stop and pause. And so many people have been able to take a breath and start to review their lives, look at what's going on in their life. What isn't working for you right now? It's, are you happy in your job and career? Is it on the path and purpose that you're choosing to do? Let's stop, pause, review, reflect, and then readjust or reinvent or rebuild where you're choosing to go. That's going to help you stop with the also the uncertainty of moving forward. Is this where I really want to be going down the path? Is this what I'm choosing? Is it bringing me joy? We talk about this a lot, that it's not just the destination, it's the journey as we go along, the journey with joy, and enjoying our moments as we go along. So are you doing a job that really brings you joy? Of course, we have commitments and stuff that we have to stick to, but are you aligning your skill set with your passion of what you're really wanting to do? Is it bringing you joy? I know I've remodeled my work, and I know you have, into doing things that we love doing, we're passionate about, and it's not work per se. It's helping people, transforming their lives, helping them live a more positive, creative life.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you help people along this journey, because you've helped me. So, for those, the cat's out of the bag. I have worked with Sally. Sally has brought me through a journey to, some calmness, some control, and some clarity in my work, and my life. And so for that, I'm internally grateful. But for other people, please explain what it is that you do.
Yeah, thanks, dear. So I'm down in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm a holistically fit specialist. As a wellness coach and trainer, I help people just create a more positive life. How I do that, I'm traditionally a personal trainer who sort of has a business called Holistically Fit, but realised that if we don't get the inside stuff right, we're never going to be happy with ourselves. Yeah, sure, diet and exercise is super important. As you know, we've got similar backgrounds, but unless you really get into the core of what's going on and what's driving you, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions and your reactions, all your behaviours and stuff, we're never going to be totally happy with where we're at in our life. So I came across this program called the Pillar Code program, and I went through it myself. I was, challenged with being a divorced mum, 4 kids, trying to build a career, and my life just wasn't in alignment. So I went through this 12-step program and came out the other side a lot more calmer and, as you're saying, more control in my life and a lot more confident. So then I went on and became a licensed pillar practitioner, and that's what I've just taken you through. But basically the program is it's a 2-part thing. It's like a self-awareness program. So you're really starting to wake up, become consciously connected with yourself, really get to know yourself in that inner level. As I said, how you think, how you feel, how you act and how you react, how you behave. Catching yourself when you start to go into that anxiety, into that depressive state, or when you start to doubt yourself or be negative, and it's understanding yourself, how you tick, so that you don't become the person you don't want to be. Do you know what I mean? And so you go through that journey, but at the same time, you've got all these blocks that have been sitting with you along your lifetime, often from childhood, sort of, that have been limiting you, sitting in your unconscious, your subconscious, and you didn't even know they were holding you back. So you're trying to achieve things in your life and you just think, why can't I get there? Why am I going around in circles? What is it? And then we went through and we would find that there were things that, all of a sudden it was back in your 20s or whatever. And you go, oh my God, I didn't realize that has been limiting me as I've been going forward. So, we've just gone through this journey together, and, it's been a particularly great time to do it because it's been through this isolation COVID time where we've been surrounded by fear, anxiety, stress, uncertainty, and we've been able to sort of ride this wave with more calmness and, more clarity about where you're choosing to go. And at the same time, getting to know yourself better. So managing those stresses that were coming up within you, the anxieties, putting some more boundaries in your life, for example, and, just being able to manage yourself and your life and bring more joy in the moments, because that's what we're talking about. Life is about being happy and joyful, as well as, getting to those destinations that we're choosing, but the journey along every moment, because life's too short, life's too precious. Let's have fun and have some meaning as we go along this path.
Absolutely. And again, this has been a terrifically challenging time in the world, in everybody's world. And I know for myself, and something that I've said to you over also, is that I credit the program for really keeping me grounded and sane, because I don't think that I would be even standing here with you right now had I not just made that commitment to undergo the 12-step program, which sounds like AA. It's not AA. But it is 12 distinctive steps that look at various different aspects of your world and your life. Do you want to quickly go through the 12 different areas?
Yeah. So, it's all based on pillars, which are, it's like a solid pillar. And within each pillar, we have the mind, body, and soul level. And we literally go through each of these pillars, which, end up in a big circle, a big pillar code wheel. And as we go through each of the pillars, we're shifting and lifting the blocks that have been holding you back, and looking at where you're, or we decode where you may be sitting in what we call the contrast, the negative, or the shadow side of that pillar, and see, what is the message around that? What has been holding you back, so that we can then clear and treat that and move on to the next one. So we have 9 pillars. There's the pillar of love, the pillar of peace, the pillar of connection, the pillar of balance, the pillar of purity, the pillar of experience, the pillar of positivity, the pillar of truth, and then we get into the pillar of transition. So as we go through each of these, we look at each pillar, the shadow negative side. So for example, if you're not sitting with peace, you're sitting with stress and chaos. And so when you're sitting with that stress and chaos, you're activating more doubt in your life, and you're attracting more negative experiences into your life, and your body's sitting with more stress. When you're sitting with stress and chaos, your body goes into that stress response, as opposed to when you're sitting on the pillar or the more positive side, you're sitting with peace, your body's sitting with a healthy stress response, because stress is healthy, but not too much of it. And then you're activating belief in your life. So, when you're sitting there peacefully, you're really believing in yourself, believing in the things of what you're doing, where you're going. But when you're sitting with that stress, you body goes into that stressy state, and then you're doubting yourself because you can't think clearly. And then, you're stepping then into pillar of love. When you're activating the love, you're getting joy, joy in what you're doing, the joy on your journey. But when you're sitting there, the opposite, in the contrast of fear, you're activating this burden of like, everything's so hard. Life becomes a burden. So, basically we went through, and there's 12 steps because we do a check-in in the middle. A beginning, fix it, list, middle, and end. Check in, see where you're sitting. But basically, we're seeing where your weakest links are. What's holding you back within each of these pillars? and then identifying these, bringing the messages up to the conscious awareness so that we can just shift it and move forward. It's like carrying a backpack of shit and you didn't even realize it was there on your back weighing you down, and let's just empty it out as we go along, because hey, we just want to have life and some meaning, joy and meaning in our life. I mean, so, and just as we go along, get rid of this stuff holding us back. It's just like, get off my back. I didn't realize you've been there for 30 odd years. I don't need you anymore. It's like limiting beliefs, right? We just didn't know they were holding us back.
And I know for myself that, you know, I am a fixer. My website to online. So I like, you know, I am one of those take control kind of gals. And I know that for myself, I was, you know, I was at my wit's end, not understanding why, with all the effort that I was placing into, with all the desire, with all the, you know, knowing that I deserved, you know, reward from my effort, knowing that my intentions were pure, why the heck was I not getting the success that I need, that I would have feel, you know, that I wanted, that I choose again. And this journey and these pillars really helped me to understand that there were blocks that I was not aware of that were affecting me. And, you know, maybe some of those, you know, so things that had happened, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Let's not climb up too much.
Really, you know, that really did come up. And it was really fascinating how when you go through the journey, sometimes you're pinpointing an age or an age range. And sure enough, I was able to connect each and every time. There was never one time where I didn't get the event that happened that caused that subconscious block that, you know, again, I felt like I dealt with, you know, you know, made peace with, but it was still there. And again, I know for myself, the level of calm that I'm able to achieve, and then also the understanding of, you know, when I'm spiraling, but more importantly, having the techniques or learning some techniques and taking, you know, taking action, like I said, eliminating caffeine from my diet. It, you know, has really, I've seen a difference, because I know, like I said, when the caffeine's in, my mind goes even more accelerated than it does normally. And that is not healthy for me. For some people, you know, caffeine might be, you know, for their minds, caffeine might be helpful, but I knew for mine, it wasn't. You know, chocolate, on the other hand.
Yeah, but that's because you're at that stage wanting some sweetness in your life. You know, you didn't have enough joy in your life, baby. So, you know, it's a good point. You know, a lot of this stuff is due to blocks that are sitting on the, we look at where the blocks are sitting. Is it on your conscious level, your upper subconscious, your lower subconscious, or, you know, or in the unconscious, down in the void. So, you know, when they're down there, you're not even aware. It's like you've had these files and you put them up in the attic and you've forgotten all about them, and you're just blowing the dust off going, OMG, I didn't realize that was, you know, that has caused lots of blocks throughout my life, and that's why I can't keep moving forward. Let's just get rid of that. So, yeah, and I think it's really important that you mentioned the tools and techniques, because it's okay understanding it, but how do I deal with this when it keeps coming up? You know, when I start to go into a negative headspace, what do I do to stop that? Because, you know, you start to have that awareness of what we call tip, when you start to go, say, from the pillar of positivity into negativity. It's like, whoa, okay, I've just recognized that I'm starting to tip. What do I do? How can I get out of this and go back onto the more positive way? It's like when we start getting shitty, you know, getting angry at someone. It might be a partner or the kids, and you just want to stop yourself rather than, you know, yelling at them and then saying things that you're going to regret. Stopping, pausing, and what can I do to correct the situation? And, you know, it's having that awareness within yourself, and then the tools and techniques to get out of it, to get your headspace into the more positive way, out of the stress, back into the peace, that sort of thing. and particularly out of like racing into the future, worrying about the future when we started talking today about the uncertainty, bringing yourself back into the now, into the present moment so that you stay grounded and not allow all that fear, anxiety to just drag you across that line or drag you back into memories of the past, into that sadness, that depression. It's like, let's just sit in the moment, learn from the experiences and challenges we've gone through, and, you know, be grateful for what they've taught us rather than sit in the past. How many people have been through a marriage and can't move forward because, oh my God, everything's changed and it's like, woe is me. Well, Debbie Downer, you can choose. Everything's a choice, right? Perception and choice. You can choose to stay in that mindset or say, okay, well, dust yourself off. It's happened. Let's pick ourselves up. Let's sit in the present moment and let's move forward. Where am I choosing to be? And, you know, the uncertainty, once again, comes back to choices. We can choose how we perceive situations. We can choose to sit in fear and anxiety about the future, or we can choose to sit in the now with peace and calm and go, the only thing I can control is myself, my health. You know, I can do things to relieve the stress that's starting to come in with this heavy mind chatter. As we spoke, go for a walk, you know, change your diet, do some meditation, have a bath, listen to music, fun things, you know, do something fun, be able to, because we've got options and we can either choose them to be positive or choose them to be negative. So what's your choice?
Mm-hmm. And I think too, the program and the techniques, again, what might work for me might not work for somebody else. And what is lovely is that it's not like you need to do this tool, but if to discover the, you know, through the coding, which, you know, which is part of the process, is, you know, it helps you to understand, you know, some of the techniques or modalities that are most beneficial to you. And then you can, you know, write them down and, you know, have it, you know, available to you so that when you know that you're triggered, because a lot of people don't even know when they're triggered.
Yeah.
I
That's the first point, right? Is getting to know yourself, understanding how you behave, you know, what ticks you off, what triggers you, what is your catalyst, you know, all that stuff. It's because, getting to know yourself better.
Yeah, and if you're walking around being, you know, just upset and not saying, oh, I was just triggered, you know what I mean? Then you're just, you know, you're just stewing with, you know, emotions. And again, you know, I think many of us feel like, you know, well, I can't help what I feel, but you actually can. And I think that is a real important concept that many people don't understand, and that it can be learned with guidance. So
absolutely, that's the key thing, learning to get to know yourself better, how you feel, how you think, how you act, and how you react. So understanding your behaviors, what's driving it, you know, what is the catalyst behind it, what is the trigger, you know, why am I feeling like that? And then, you know, digging a little bit deeper, really understanding yourself, and no judgment around yourself, allowing them to be real, because how you feel is how you feel. No one can tell you that that's right or wrong. That's just where you're sitting at that present moment in time, and that's okay. And that's okay, you know, to be with it. And I think that's part of the light bulb moment is, well, I do feel shitty, but that's okay. Like understanding why and then dealing with it. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Because the worst thing is that you could still be upset about something that happened a month ago, a week ago, 10 years ago. And, you know, and still be, you know, you know, have those emotions within you that are contributing to some of that anxiety, uncertainty. But again, you know, it's recognizing and then realizing what you can do about it, and then obviously taking action. So, you know, if somebody wanted to learn more about this, as I recall, you offered me a Life Happens session, which is complimentary. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that and how somebody can take advantage of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it just gives you a little taste into how we do a little bit of coding, or where we look at messages as sitting around a particular stress that you've got going on in your life at the moment. Just one thing we go through. It's about a 45-minute thing, appointment, and we look at one stress. We look at the messages around it, just seeing where it's sitting. Is it a conscious block? Is it an unconscious block? Whereabouts that is. Some emotions around it, conditions that sit around it, and just get a little bit of a story and a message around it that we chat about. And then we go through and do we do muscle observation, then we do sort of an energetic treatment around it, and it's just interesting to see what comes up. And it's you've got nothing to lose in trying it out. And lots of people go, wow, that is amazing, how did you do that? And it's your unconscious telling me things, just giving me lots of messages. And just coming back onto the other point though, just about releasing and letting go of stuff. Isn't that important? That's hanging onto stuff from the past. So, when we've got these stresses and things hanging in our lives now, where's that coming from? What's the message behind it? What's going on? So if anyone is interested in doing a Life Happens appointment, just contact me on holisticallyfit.com.au. Just shoot me an email there. It's probably the best way to go. As I said, they're 45 minutes. They're free. We just fit in around the time. I've got a Calendly thing. We can do a booking through that. But highly encourage people just to get out and start to get to know themselves better, because it's going to help you with sitting with more peace, particularly as we're riding this wave of challenges and uncertainty. And, let's get back into this present moment, out of this fear and anxiety. Let's not get dragged down into the past. Let's sit with much more calmness, gain greater control of your own life so that you're more confident, feeling, back into that pillar of strength in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like I said, I highly recommend taking advantage of the Life Happens session and experiencing the modality for yourself and seeing if it's a good fit or not. And there's nothing to lose because it's absolutely free. So go ahead and take advantage, reach out to Sally. She's amazing. And Sally, thank you for sharing your techniques, your wisdom, and thank you so much for the work that you've done with me. So
such a pleasure. I am so grateful, and you rock, Dale. I absolutely love what you do. You're passionate about it. Your work is awesome, and we just want to spread that. It's just like it's time. It's time to get out there and help people. Let's prevent illness down the track, and let's get people more consciously connected to themselves and their lives, so we can have some more fun, some more meaning, and some purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And my work, as viewers know or not, is aligning the body, but it's not just the body, because it's all connected. And so body, mind, and spirit, just like the aspects of the pillar. And spirit was something that kind of always eluded me. So I knew how to align the body. Obviously, that's my expertise. I was learning how to align the mind, but the spirit component was something that was a bit elusive. So, if you don't mind, taking maybe another minute or so to explain the spirit. And, I'd heard from the inventor of the Pillar Code that energetic medicine is for the spirit. Could you explain that? Because I'm curious myself.
So, yeah, and spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, that's all about, it's linking into your heart stuff. It's about your joy. It's about your happiness. And your soul is also about taking you on your path, purpose, and direction for your soul, not for what you mentally think you need to be doing, getting a job that's going to pay you the best amount of money or whatever. It's going on a journey that gives you that inner happiness, that inner contentness, that inner joy. So, energetically, things that bring you love, because love is the highest form of energy. It's the most healing energy that exists. So anything that connects into love is fueling your soul, satisfying your soul. So what you're doing in life is trying to align your path and purpose and direction of where you're going with joy and happiness that brings you love inside. It's nothing too woo-woo. It's just, let's align what we're doing in life with things that bring us love. Are we doing a job that we're really passionate about? Are we enjoying all the moments? And as I was saying before, this is fabulous time for us to stop and think, is really this the best job or career path that I'm on at the moment, or what I'm actually doing in life? Is it bringing me enough joy? Sure, we've got to be realistic that we've got to pay the bills and all that sort of stuff, but are there different ways of doing things that we can do it so that it gives us more joy? Are we taking enough time out in our days, for example, to make that time just for us, or to do things that bring us joy? Spend some time with the kids, like I know you go with your daughters, outdoor activities. That fuels your soul with joy, And yeah, sure, we've got to pay the bills, and it may be that you have to just do that job. Put that in that box, but take time out for yourself so that you're fueling your soul with joy, because we exist on this planet for love and happiness. As I said, it's the highest form of healing energy that there is. So through the pillar stuff, we're really trying to activate all the soul aspects, the joy, it's the love, it's the belief, the confidence, the clarity, having purpose in our life, tapping into that intuition within ourselves, listening to that little niggle inside that's really telling you where you should go, that gut guiding us, because that's, linking in with our soul, because that's going to fuel our soul with that joy, that happiness. Yeah, it's not too complicated, but once you really start to feel it, like really feel it, then you go, yeah, actually that's aligning and making me feel that's the right way I should be going.
Yeah, and I think all of that, probably got turned off a long time ago in society when we were growing up. We're born with it, and then somehow we lost it, and to find it again, I think especially right now, the world needs more love and joy. So
yeah, and it's getting that balance, right? Because we don't want to be living on that male energy and that survival mode where it's work, career, finances all the way, because everything is going to start to implode on a massive scale around the world, financially, all that sort of stuff. So let's bring it back to basics. Let's really peel it back to why are we here? What's important in life? Like really take it back and get that balance, so we're not just living in survival mode, not on that hamster wheel all the time. I think a lot of people are starting to wake up, having this time at home. A lot of people are now going, well, I can work from home, for example. I don't need to be slogging in, and I can be even more productive, and I can have my family around me. I can enjoy the moments. We can sit down at the table together. I'm not commuting 2 more hours to get home. And get that balance of thriving as well as surviving, building up that female energy, which is that more nurturing, loving, nourishing, intuitive energy, pairing it out with that survival and being that strong together, that sort of male energy, work, career, finance, getting that beautiful balance in your life. And then you'll sit with more joy and happiness and less sadness and more in the moment.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you again, and I'm sure we'll be connecting again in the future, but thank you for taking the time out and sharing.
I really appreciate it. Super grateful. Have an awesome, what are we, evening over there and morning here.
Excellent. All right. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.